Imagine this. You wake up to the sound of your alarm, a harsh electronic pulse that yanks you from dreams you can't remember. Before your eyes even open, your hand is already reaching for your phone. Notifications flood in, emails, headlines, social updates. Each one a tiny hook in your attention. You haven't brushed your teeth yet, but you've already absorbed a dozen messages about what you should want, fear, or buy today. By the time you pour your coffee, you're uneasy. Not about anything specific, just a low hum of not enough, not productive enough, not attractive enough, not successful enough. You scroll through photos of friends on tropical vacations, colleagues celebrating promotions, influencers radiating bliss. You don't even like these people, but their curated lives sting like salt in a wound you didn't know you had. Here's the unsettling truth. You didn't choose this feeling. It was assigned to you. The paradox. Society thrives by convincing you that happiness is just ahead. If you work harder, consume more, and mold yourself to fit its blueprint. But the closer you get to its promises, the more elusive contentment becomes. Like a donkey chasing a carrot on a stick, you're running on a treadmill of manufactured desire. Ask yourself, why do you truly want the things you want? Who programmed your definition of success? When was the last time you felt allowed to be still, to be enough just as you are? The illusion of choice. You believe you're free. You vote, you curate playlists, you choose between 50 brands of toothpaste. Yet the most consequential choices, what you value, how you measure your worth, what you sacrifice for approval, were made for you long before you realized there was a script. From childhood, you were handed invisible rule books. Hustle culture. Your worth equals your productivity. Consumerism. Joy lives in the next purchase. Social media. Validation is a numbers game. These aren't laws of nature. They're strategies. Strategies to keep you anxious, striving, and, above all, dependent on systems that profit from your hunger. The great question, what if your unhappiness isn't personal failure, but by design? What if you've been handed a broken compass, one that points forever toward mirages, leaving you thirsty in a desert of abundance? And most crucially, how do you tear up the script? The alarm rings. You silence it, already exhausted before the day begins. As you scroll through social media, a familiar ache settles in your chest. Their lives seem so perfect. The vacations, the promotions, the flawless relationships. Meanwhile, your own existence feels lacking. But here's the uncomfortable truth. This dissatisfaction isn't accidental. It's carefully cultivated. Modern society operates on a simple but devastating equation. A happy population doesn't consume. Your unease has been engineered through psychological warfare waged by corporations, social institutions, and even well-meaning friends and family. The mechanisms are invisible but omnipresent. The comparison industrial complex, social media, didn't invent envy, but it weaponized it. Studies show just 30 minutes of daily exposure significantly increases depression rates. Why? Because you're not comparing yourself to reality. You're comparing your behind the scenes to everyone else's highlight reel. The productivity trap. Follow your passion might be the most insidious lie of our generation. When hobbies become hustles and self-worth ties to output, you're left chasing an ever-receding horizon of achievement. Even billionaires like Elon Musk can't stop working. The system rewards those who can't sit still. The consumerism con. Every advertisement whispers the same lie. You'll be complete if you buy this. But the dopamine hit from purchases lasts about 72 hours, so the cycle continues. Acquire, adapt, want anew. It's no coincidence the average person sees 4,000 to 10,000 ads daily. Philosophers saw this coming centuries ago. Schopenhauer warned that desire is infinite by design. Satisfy one want and 10 more emerge. Marx recognized how capitalism alienates us from our labor and humanity. Foucault exposed how institutions shape our very thoughts before we think them. Your smartphone, a slot machine in your pocket. Your workplace, often a Skinner box with bi-weekly treats. Even your relationships have become performance metrics. How many likes, how fast they reply, how picturesque your family appears. The most devastating realization? You volunteered for this, not consciously, but through thousands of micro-surrenders, checking emails during dinner, measuring weekends by productivity, apologizing for just being a parent, artist, thinker. The system's genius lies in making its victims blame themselves. When you're unhappy, you're told to meditate more, but never question your 60-hour work week. Practice gratitude while ignoring systemic exploitation. Buy self-care products to soothe capitalism-induced stress. This isn't conspiracy, it's emergent design. No single villain plotted this, but the collective outcome is a population perpetually off balance, reaching for the next rung that never quite satisfies. The crucial question isn't, why am I unhappy? But who benefits from keeping me this way? You sit in traffic, running late again. The dashboard clock mocks you as your fingers drum the steering wheel. A notification buzzes. Another friend is engaged. Your stomach tightens. That night you lie awake calculating, at my age, my parents already owned a home. The thought coils around your throat like a noose. This isn't just stress. This is the algorithm of inadequacy running its daily calculations in your psyche. The consequences are far more sinister than occasional anxiety. 1. The emotional tax. Your brain now processes life through 3 toxic filters. The highlight reel effect, comparing your raw footage to others' edited trailers. The achievement paradox. Each success only resets the finish line further away. The phantom benchmark, an imaginary right timeline for milestones that never existed too. The neurological hijacking. Dopamine loops from social media have rewired your attention span. A UCLA study found modern brains now check phones every 4.3 minutes. Not by choice, but because you've been conditioned like Pavlov's dogs. Your prefrontal cortex, the seat of willpower, is literally atrophying from constant distraction. 3. The social fabric unraveling. Real conversation has been replaced by content. Dating is now a swipe-based marketplace. Even children's play is monetized through YouTube unboxing videos. We've become what sociologist Eric Fromm warned about, homo consumers who relate to each other as products. The great irony? The very things we chase to relieve this discomfort, more money, better gadgets, curated experiences, only deepen the void. A Princeton study found emotional well-being plateaus at $75,000 per year, yet we keep sacrificing relationships and health to chase higher numbers. Most disturbing of all, we've internalized the oppression. You now feel guilty for resting, equate busyness with worthiness, view relationships as networking opportunities, consider self-optimization a moral obligation. The system's ultimate victory? Making you believe this is normal. That exhaustion is ambition. That loneliness is independence. That constantly wanting is human nature rather than carefully engineered dissatisfaction. But here's the crack in the matrix. Wild animals don't hate themselves for not building better nests. Ancient philosophers didn't measure their worth in productivity metrics. This suffering isn't natural. It's the cost of admission to a game you never consented to play. The alarm rings, but this time you don't reach for your phone. You lie still, watching dust particles dance in the morning light. A revolutionary thought whispers, what if I just exist today? This quiet moment contains the seeds of insurrection. Breaking the program requires war on 3 fronts. 1. Cognitive revolt, rewiring your brain. Practice. Attention resistance training. When the itch to check your phone arises, wait 17 minutes, the time needed to break the dopamine cycle. Cultivate productive boredom. Take daily walks without podcasts or music. This is where original thought resurfaces. Implement input fasting. 1 day weekly with no news, social media, or shopping too. Emotional counterprogramming. Relearn the lost art of enoughness. When completing a task, say aloud, this is sufficient. Rediscover visceral pleasures. The weight of a book, the smell of soil, the warmth of a blanket. Anchors to reality. Keep a joy ledger. Track moments of unproductive happiness that society can't monetize. 3. Social mutiny. Create sacred spaces with friends where phones are locked away and vulnerability is mandatory. Practice anti-ambition. Deliberately pursue something with no career or social value. Become unoptimizable. Develop quirks and habits that algorithms can't categorize. The radical truth nobody tells you. Moments of true freedom will feel like failure at first. When you first decline an invitation without excuse, spend an hour staring at clouds, create something nobody will see, your conditioned mind will scream that you're wasting your life. This is the programming fighting back. Historical rebels who cracked the code. Diogenes living in a barrel to mock Athenian consumerism. Emily Dickinson writing hundreds of poems she never published. The Japanese hikikomori rejecting society's achievement treadmill. Your arsenal of resistance, the 5-5-5 rule. Will this matter in 5 days, 5 months, 5 years? Pleasure forensics. Trace desires to their origin. Is this truly mine? Strategic underachievement. Leave some potential deliberately untapped, the most subversive act? Reclaiming your right to be ordinary. In a world that profits from your endless becoming, choosing to simply be is revolutionary. As Albert Camus wrote, but what is happiness except the simple harmony between a man and the life he leads? The clock strikes midnight. You sit in the quiet glow of a single lamp, the weight of your entire life pressing gently against your ribs. And then, it happens. The final veil lifts. You see with terrifying clarity. They never had the power to make you unhappy. You gave it to them. This is the atomic truth that shatters the illusion. Your suffering was never mandatory. The system's greatest trick wasn't making you chase happiness. It was convincing you that happiness lived outside yourself to begin with. Every advertisement, every motivational poster, every carefully curated Instagram feed was smoke and mirrors. The prison wasn't built with bars of steel, but with 2 fragile lies. All consumerism depends on one weakness: your suspicion that the next thing will finally fill the hole. All status games bank on one fear, that without them, you'll disappear. But here's what they don't want you to know. The moment you stop playing, you win. Not in some abstract spiritual sense, in concrete, physiological reality. Studies show that people who opt out, abundance is a trap. The more you have, the more you fear losing it. Goals are often someone else's. Many dreams were implanted during vulnerable moments. Time is the only real currency, and you've been spending it on their terms. You will wake tomorrow to the same world, but something will be irrevocably different. The alarm will ring, but you'll hear it as a choice rather than a command. The notifications will buzz, but you'll recognize them for what they are. Tiny bids for your soul. The ads will still whisper, but their spells will shatter against your new awareness. This isn't enlightenment. This isn't some guru's mountaintop revelation. This is what remains when you strip away everything that was never truly yours to begin with. As Jung said, the most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. But what he didn't say, what you now understand, is that this terror lasts only a moment. What comes after is something the system can never touch, never quantify, never commodify. Now that you know, now that you truly see, what will you do with this unshackled day that has been given to you?